Good morning. Thank you for tuning into Tech Talk Tuesday. My name is Brian Mursky, and I am the owner of Veranda Technologies. We're here in Brick Township, and we service Monmouth, Ocean, and the surrounding New Jersey counties. So we are looking at potentially some bad weather over the next couple days. It seems like this is a recurring theme, because it is. And we thought we would take just a few minutes this week. This will probably be a shorter video. To talk about preparing your technology and your staff, but preparing your technology for bad weather. Things to think about. So we're going to throw out a handful of scenarios. I recommend writing these things down because you're in that process. You're going to think of other things, and you're going to be able to have good, intricate notes and an action plan. Right? We want to be prepared. You can't account for everything, but you want to be prepared when you have a problem due to a storm, power outage, something like that. So we were at Point Pleasant the other night. The surf looked amazing. It's very strong tide, very high crashing waves. And for people in that area, they get localized flooding from time to time. I mean, it's going to happen. We have Hurricane Lee coming up the coast. It's not going to make landfall. It's not going to be detrimental to this area like some of the hurricanes have been down south, like Sandy was a few years ago. But it's still going to produce a lot of water. It's going to produce a lot of wind. We are going to have localized power outages. So you just need to think about things like that. So if you're in an area that floods, think about placement of your electronics. If you've ever taken any water, your computer should not be under the desk on the floor. They should be on the desk under the monitor. Cables, power strips, all of that sort of thing should be lifted up. Obviously, you can't do that with the large multifunction printers, copiers, scanners. They're too big, they're too heavy. And filing cabinets certainly can't be avoided. They have to sit on the floor. But as much as you can, shouldn't be if you're in an area that floods. It's just something you should be aware of and doing. Also, obviously, keep in mind lightning, potential for power outages, right? In our area, you may not be in our area, but in our area where most people are going to be watching this, we don't have soil, we have sand. When you have sand and wind and more water than normal, power lines are going to snap. Poles are going to come down, tree limbs are going to come down, areas are going to lose power. You should think about not having all of your equipment plugged in, for example. If you're leaving the office for the day and you expect high winds that night, turn things off, pull the plugs. I know it's frustrating when you come in the next morning, you have to power everything back up. We're talking about 10 or 15 minutes. It could potentially save you thousands of dollars on equipment. Shut everything down, unplug it. Don't have it plugged in if you're expecting power problems due to high winds or lightning, thunderstorms, anything like that. You can also use UPS battery backups. They take the brunt of that. We actually did a video on that last week, so feel free to go back and watch that. But not keeping things plugged in, not keeping things under the desk where they'll flood. You should also think about what kind of provisions you have if your office should lose power. Can you work remotely? Do you have access? Are your files in the cloud? Do you have the ability to put critical files that you need to work on a thumb drive or a laptop to take it home and be able to work remotely for a couple of days? If you have everything and it lives in the office, do you have good remote software? Something that we've provided, log me in, go to my PC. Can you remote to your machine? And what happens if the power or internet goes out and you suddenly can't remote to your machines? Are you prepared for that? Can you access that data some other way? So, again, it's just about having a plan, particularly a written plan, so that everybody in the company knows what the expectations are. Everybody knows how to handle it should something like this happen. If you have backups that are on external drives, do you rotate them out of the office? If you're expecting electrical problems or loss of connectivity or potentially water or wind damage, you don't want your only backup in the same building as all of the other data, because then if something happens at that building, You want your data to be backed up elsewhere. So even if that's backed up to a hard drive and then you take the hard drive out, that's great, as long as it's not in the same place as the potential weather disaster. So just some things to think about. If you have any questions, if you have anything you want to talk about specifically, you're looking for a solution for something, you think you might have an issue, one of these things that you're not covered for, please reach out to me. I would rather 100 calls before a storm than even one after if somebody loses data. So give me a call anytime you like, 732-743-5772. You can always email us at helpdesk@verandatech.com. Otherwise, have a wonderful and safe week. We will see you next time on Tech Talk Tuesday.